In 1918, the USS Cyclops was a titan of the ocean. Measuring 542 feet long, the Navy ship was carrying a 10,000-ton cargo of dense manganese ore from Brazil to Baltimore. Then it vanished. Over 300 crewmen disappeared without sending a distress call, deploying lifeboats, or leaving behind a single piece of wreckage on the surface. In December 1945, 5 heavily armed Navy torpedo bombers known as Flight 19 took off on a routine training patrol and evaporated into the sky over the same region. 18 years later, the Marine Sulphur Queen, a 523-foot tanker carrying 15,000 tons of molten sulfur, went silent. The only evidence the Coast Guard recovered from the water was a handful of life jackets and a broken foghorn. These cases present a staggering detective question. How do the largest machines on Earth and their entire crews get swallowed whole without leaving a trace? To understand the disappearances, we must map the geography. Connecting Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan creates a zone twice the size of Texas. It contains the Puerto Rico Trench, dropping 27,000 feet. You could stack 20 Empire State Buildings inside without breaking the surface. Cutting through the center of this trench is the Gulf Stream, a massive underwater river flowing up to 6 miles per hour. If a ship loses power and drifts, this current sweeps the vessel and its debris hundreds of miles away in a matter of hours. Above the surface, the region sits directly in the crosshairs of Atlantic hurricane paths. It is also prone to sudden microbursts, localized downdrafts of air that hit the ocean surface at 170 miles per hour, instantly capsizing vessels. These factors combine into a perfect geographic trap. The extreme depth, high-speed currents, and violent weather work together to hide evidence forever. When investigators fail to find wreckage, the public fills the void with theories. One popular legend suggests the lost city of Atlantis lies at the bottom of the Atlantic, armed with ancient supercrystals that scramble modern navigation systems. Believers cite the Bimini Road as physical proof. Discovered in 1968, these submerged rectangular stones resemble a man-made street resting on the ocean floor. Geologists found a natural explanation after examining the stones. The road is composed of beach rock, a sedimentary formation that naturally fractures into neat geometric rectangles as it dries and cracks over thousands of years. Other pilots have reported a time portal in the form of a blinding electronic fog. Meteorologists identify this as St. Elmo's fire, a glowing electrical discharge that erupts during tropical storms and wreaks havoc on unshielded instruments. These supernatural myths represent a human reaction to complex natural phenomena. We reliably translate misunderstood atmospheric events into folklore and mythology. In this region, massive storm systems from the North Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf of Mexico routinely collide. When these independent energy fronts meet, they stack up into rogue waves. These waves can reach over 100 feet tall, appearing instantly in calm seas. The kinetic energy of a 100-foot wall of water can snap a steel-hulled ship in half before the crew can send a distress signal. Deep beneath the seafloor, methane gas sits trapped inside ice-like crystals. If pressure shifts, the crystals break and methane explodes upward. These rising bubbles aerate the surface water. Because bubbling water is drastically less dense, any ship passing over the pocket plummets to the bottom. The triangle also sits near the agonic line, where true north and magnetic north perfectly align. Historically, pilots unaccustomed to this alignment tried to compensate for magnetic variation that wasn't there, steering themselves 20 degrees off course and flying into the empty ocean. These extreme environmental physics provide a lethal explanation for the disappearances, proving the ocean is dangerous enough to render ghost stories unnecessary. The Bermuda Triangle as a concept didn't exist until 1964. Pulp magazine writers coined the name to sell adventure stories, often intentionally omitting hurricane warnings and mechanical failure reports from their articles to make the sinking sound more mysterious. These writers also ignored the human element. The USS Cyclops set sail heavily overloaded while operating on a broken engine, and the commander of Flight 19 became severely disoriented, ignoring the navigational advice of his own junior pilots. Technological limitations also played a role. In the 1940s, standard radios had incredibly weak range. Without modern GPS tracking, any crew that drifted outside that small transmission radius became impossible to find. Today, the Bermuda Triangle is one of the busiest and safest shipping lanes on Earth. Thousands of commercial airliners and cargo ships cross through it every day, and the data proves it is statistically no more dangerous than any other part of the ocean. The deep Atlantic remains a wild, largely undiscovered frontier. We have developed higher resolution maps of the surface of Mars than we have of the black abyss at the bottom of our own ocean.